Pain-Free Living with Dr. Mitchell Yass and the Yass Method for Pain-Free Movement on 1010XL. Here's Matt Hayes.
Good Sunday morning, Jacksonville. It's the Pain-Free Living Hour with Dr. Mitchell Yass. I'm Matt Hayes. He's Dr. Yass, and he's going to give you the tools to live a pain-free life. There are 3 ways to get involved. If you have a question for Dr. Yass, there's the text line brought to you by our friends at Lifetime Enclosures. That's 904-641-1010. Or you can watch on the live stream on the 1010XL YouTube channel, or, of course, by calling 904-641-1010, and we can get you on the show and talk about your pains. As always, you can contact Dr. Yass at 904-906-YASS, 904-906-YASS, or visit his website, Living Without Pains, that's plural, livingwithoutpains.com, and schedule an appointment for his office or a Zoom session. That's right. The method can be performed either in person or on a Zoom call. Now, last week we showed you how pain transcends those with pain and into the lives of their friends and their loved ones. Today's show is unique on 2 fronts. First, we'll talk about a common pain relevant to many, shoulder pain. But before we do that, I want to take a moment and explain, and Dr. Yass doesn't know I'm going to do this, so I might be embarrassing him, but I want to explain that a couple weeks ago, Dr. Yass was talking to me about a patient's pain in her shoulder, and he got emotional, and he welled up. And I want everyone to understand that when Mitchell talks about living a pain-free life, he takes it personally. This is more than just see pain, fix pain. This is a calling for him. Dr. Yass is invested in every patient's journey to pain-free living, and the stories affect him. So, Mitchell, let's explain today's show and our special guest that we'll bring on in the second segment. Good morning.
Good morning, Matt. Great to be here again. Love to spend this time with you, sharing the message that pain-free living can be real and can be achieved fairly quickly. The individual we're going to have for today's testimony is a lady named Becca, and she had one of the most unique symptoms that I've ever seen. So she had shoulder pain, and for most people, the issue is that when they're raising their arm, they'll get a shocking, severe type of pain, and then they begin to lower it, and the pain dissipates. But what happened when she raised her arm, she had the shocking pain, and as she began to lower her arm, her shoulder muscles went into spasm. And she started to well up, cry, almost became a little frantic because she describes it as her shoulder locks. And she can't move it, so she has to grab it with the other arm. And upon seeing that, obviously I was traumatized by watching this happen to her. I told her to try to lay down, and I tried to assist her to get her arm down. So this was a highly unique situation. I've treated people with pain for 30 years. And people talk about their pain, and sometimes people have severe pain, but it is rare to see that level of reaction due to motion of the shoulder. And so I just felt compelled, as I do with everybody I treat, that she had to have this resolved in the shortest period of time. If, in fact, I could prove that it was muscular, I could show her that we could get rid of this almost in one session. And that is how that session started. So we're going to talk about her particular case, but basically we're going to start with trying to give people some knowledge about the shoulder that I can assure you they've never heard before. And we are calling this segment Shoulder Shockers.
All right, if you're watching on YouTube, Mitchell just held up his Shoulder Shockers pamphlet there, and you can read it along with him.
And if you're just listening, by all means, Google shoulder and just look at an atlas picture of the shoulder. So, number 1, the shoulder joint is comprised of the upper arm bone attaching to the shoulder blade. Most people do not understand this premise, and the reason is because if we think about the shoulder blade, we think of that as on your back. In fact, most people perceive that or describe it as the wing bone. But what you see is as it comes to the end, it actually turns perpendicular 90 degrees to the back, and that's what the arm bone attaches into. So you need to understand the relationship of the shoulder to shoulder blade because they are connected. And the function of the shoulder is 100% correlated to the function of the shoulder blade. Number two, the shoulder blade is held to the rib cage by muscles. Now, when we think about a joint has one stable bone and another bone moving on it. That's how joints work. Usually the stable bone is held in position by ligaments and joint capsule. There are no ligaments or joint capsule that hold the shoulder blade in position. It's all muscle. So think about that. Not only do we have to think about the muscles that control the shoulder joint, we also have to think about the muscles that stabilize the shoulder blade so those muscles can pull off that shoulder blade properly. Okay, so that's the basic premise of the connection between the two, the shoulder joint and the shoulder blade. Now, let's talk about how the shoulder works. So if we look at this joint, what's happening is as you raise your arm, the head of the arm bone is going to try to rise. So if this is your shoulder joint, as the elbow rises, the head of the arm bone wants to rise. That's normal bone mechanics, okay? Now, if that were to continue, as you're getting to about 90 degrees of shoulder raising your arm, that upper arm bone is going to impact the top of your shoulder joint, and range of motion will be stopped. And this is very common. People will describe the majority of their pain as they're reaching 90 degrees, and for many people, they will say, I can't raise my arm any further.
Right.
The confusion lies in the sense that they think that there is a structural abnormality, arthritis, a labral tear, something of that nature impeding them, but it is an improper bone mechanic that's occurring, okay? So what we want to look at now is what is responsible? What allows normal bone mechanics? And the answer is the infraspinatus and teres minor muscles. We can see them on this picture here. Here is the infraspinatus and here is the teres minor. Look very carefully, and again, if you're just listening, try to get an anatomy picture of this. You'll see that the infraspinatus and the teres minor are inferior or lower than the shoulder joint, the head of the arm bone in the shoulder joint, which is to say that if it contracts, it can pull the head of the arm bone down. So when we talk about the fact that proper bone mechanics says that the head of the arm bone is going to rise, if that infraspinatus and teres minor are working properly, it's going to draw it down, and that frees up that space at the top of the shoulder joint, which allows you to raise your arm fully.
It's range of motion then.
You get your range of motion. Right. So range of motion does occur at the joint, but the ability to get the range of motion occurs through the contraction of those two primary muscles pulling the head of the arm bone down. Technically, they are called humeral head depressors. They actually drop it down.
So that's important. Real quick, Mitchell.
Yes.
Everybody talks about range of motion. The only way you're going to get range of motion is if your muscles are not in deficit.
Correct. So joints allow for range of motion to occur.
Right.
They don't make range of motion. Range of motion occurs by muscles pulling the bones together in an appropriate manner to allow the joint to move. Okay? So, and the next point is that the shoulder muscles are only as strong as the shoulder blade muscles. So let's take your deltoid, the most common muscle most people know about. That takes your arm and brings your arm up.
All right, if you're listening, where's the deltoid?
The deltoid is in the front of the shoulder, wraps around the shoulder. Okay. So it's attached from the arm bone to the shoulder joint, to the shoulder blade. So if it's going to raise your arm, it's pulling from the arm bone, from the shoulder blade to the arm, and the arm bone's rising. If that shoulder blade isn't stable, then there's no way for that muscle to pull off the shoulder blade. And so it gives. So you'll have apparent weakness at the shoulder, but there's really nothing wrong with your deltoid. It's the muscles stabilizing the shoulder blade that aren't doing an appropriate level of stabilizing to allow the deltoid to pull off of it.
And if this is the point you make with all muscles, if one's not working, it's going to affect others.
Correct. So, especially in the case of the shoulder, for normal shoulder motion, you might require 8 to 10 muscles to work synergistically, all at the same time, creating the appropriate resistance level. If one breaks down, another's going to have to compensate. Okay? So the big point I want to make to most people is they have pain, they get an MRI, and it talks about a torn or irritated bicep tendon or supraspinatus tendon. This is, if there's anything to learn from this lesson, it is that the biceps tendon and the supraspinatus tendon run between the top of the shoulder joint and the top of the head of the arm bone. So if that does rise, it will impact those two tendons. And so when that MRI finds those torn tendons or strained or frayed tendons, understand that is not the cause. That is actually a representative of a symptom along with your pain, that the head of the arm bone is not being dropped down because of strained rotator cuff muscles.
Now, we're going to get Becca on the next segment. She was told she had frozen shoulder, right?
Yes. So one of the final points we can make is that frozen shoulder, labral tears, and arthritis are the indication that that's the factor in causing pain is that there has to be a loss of range of motion in the person moving it as well as somebody trying to do it. If the person, another person can move the joint more, then that can't be a proper diagnosis.
And it's impossible to be frozen shoulder.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. When we come back, we're going to delve deeper into the shoulder shockers and get a more powerful testimonial that you do not want to miss. It's the Pain-Free Living Hour with Dr. Mitchell Yass on 1010XL.
Play on the edge. Stand on the edge. The Amateur's Edge. Get the Amateur's Edge. Powered by B3 Better. To learn the hidden path of top pros, amateurs, and coaches. Saturday mornings at 11 on 1010XL.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open-air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
You love free. And at Ameris Bank, so do we. That's why we're proud to offer worry-free, hassle-free Ameris Bank free checking. Manage your money your way with convenient access to digital, mobile, and telephone banking, all with no monthly service fee or minimum balance requirements. At Ameris Bank, we're with you. For more information or to open an account, visit our local bankers in person or online at amerisbank.com/free checking. Other fees such as overdraft fees may apply. Ameris Bank, member FDIC, equal.
Are you looking for increased privacy and protection for your family and pets? Look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Superior Fence and Rail is Jacksonville's top-rated fence company, delivering the highest quality fence products. They'll treat your property as if it's their own. So get off the fence and get your privacy back. Call Superior Fence and Rail today for your on-site estimates.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. We're your local family jeweler for 46 years in Jacksonville with a huge selection of diamonds, gemstones, and pre-owned Rolex watches. And Monahan Jewelers is your store for expert jewelry repair turned around in 1 or 2 days. Most jewelry stores take 2 weeks or more, and many stores send your jewelry somewhere else for repair. At Monahan Jewelers, our jewelry repair is done in-house by expert craftsmen, and Monahans can turn around most repairs in a day or two. So bring your jewelry repair to Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Jeff Lageman, Kevin Faber, and Kirk Waltz bring you into the outdoors.
We've got 3 big bucks.
On the Nimnicht Outdoor Show, presented by Duck Duck Rooter. 7 to 10 every Saturday morning on 1010XL.
It's the Big One sales event going on now at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Mia here, and buy a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Corolla for just $1,000 down and $288 per month. Or you choose a pre-owned 2020 Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma for just $1,000 down and $388 per month. Arlington Pre-Owned has over 400 used cars in stock and more than 100 vehicles under $18K. You even get 30 days to love your pre-owned purchase or exchange it for one that you do. Shop the Big One sales event, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard and arlingtontoyota.com.
74.3% of those that own a home security system indicate that their security system and products make them feel safe. because security cameras give you peace of mind. Denny Thompson here. Let Tyson Sound and Security assess your home security needs and keep the bad guys out so you can have full peace of mind too. While you're at it, ask them how they can help lower your home insurance payments. Visit TysonSoundandSecurity.com. Tyson Sound and Security, security and automation experts.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and I said yes to Yass, Dr. Mitchell Yass, and the Yass method. Now, I know you've probably tried medications, treatments, injections, even surgery. Maybe the reason you're still in pain is because they're treating the wrong thing and not addressing the root causes. Well, I know from personal experience, this does happen. But I found the best-kept secret in pain elimination, Dr. Yass and the Yass method. Call him today, 904-906-YASS, and say yes to Yass.
Summertime is here, and it's time to cast those worries out. And Royal is here to help you do that with our Summer Termite Special, featuring Centricon. Starting at just $249. That's right, I said $249, and that's installed.
Visit RoyalPestServices.com.
It's time to fire up the grill. Houston's Meat Specials of the Week. 10 pounds of fresh jumbo chicken wings, only $12.95. 2-pack pork spare ribs, only $1.99 a pound. And whole T-bone steaks at $5.95 a pound. Only at Houston's Meats, Main Street and 295.
Mark Watson for Hardball Creative, letting you know that Hardball has cooler promotions, but some people call them ice chests. Either way, check out the items you can put your company logo on at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Business owners know Andy's Automotive and Truck Services for routine fleet maintenance or emergency repairs. Andy's offers after-hours and mobile service to minimize downtime and keep your fleet on the road. Visit andysats.com.
Hi, I'm Don Medeiros, former 10-year NFL strong safety for the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you have an athlete ages 6 to 13, I would like to invite you and your son to come out to my 3-day skills, drills, and conditioning camp that will be held this year in North Jacksonville. And they'll be focusing on skills, drills, speed, agility, offense and defense, and tackling skills, everything needed to be successful. So if you want to come on out, just go to DariusNextLevelTraining.com. I look forward to seeing you there and going to the next level. Go to DariusNextLevelTraining.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville.
Okay, we're back. It's Sunday morning. It's the 10 o'clock hour. You know what that means. It's the pain-free living hour with Dr. Mitchell Yass. Mitch, we are deep into shoulder shockers. We've got a powerful, powerful message coming up from Becca. First, explain Becca one more time. She's calling right now. We're about ready to get her. Explain Becca what her situation was and what's going on now, and then we'll have Becca come in and explain the entire story.
Sure. So in Becca's case, what was somewhat unusual was the fact that she had some experience with an orthopedic surgeon relating to some leg issues, and then she had this pain in her shoulder, so she called this gentleman, and somehow, from just that call, he attempted to diagnose her as having frozen shoulder. This is before she was seen or any diagnostic test was done. That was somewhat unusual. And so he kind of thought that the appropriate approach was to do surgery and kind of said, prepare yourself to do surgery. Well, she had some surgeries and she was really hesitant to do that. So she was looking for an alternative, and it turns out she was going to a massage therapist who knew me, and so referred it to me. And so what the important thing was to do was first establish the proper diagnosis. Does she, in fact, have frozen shoulder, or does she have a muscular deficit? And the initial evaluation always starts with that evaluative process, and that's how the thing happened.
Okay, we've got Becca right now. Good Sunday morning to you, Becca. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Good morning.
Thanks so much for having us. Becca, can you explain your situation and how you got to Dr. Yass and how quickly things started to change for you?
Oh, absolutely. I have had a tough year. I had a couple of sports-related injuries on other parts of my body that did require some surgery. Took care of those, but noticed immediately after one of my surgeries, my husband came in to check on me in the recovery room, and I'd had a knee procedure done, and he said, "How do you feel?" And I said, "My shoulder hurts." And he said, "Sorry, honey, I think maybe under the medication still, you had knee surgery, not shoulder surgery. And I said, I know, but my shoulder hurts. I cried most of the way home, he said, and complained about my shoulder. Don't remember much of that. About a week later, I told him, I said, I have to get off the crutches. My shoulder is killing me. And he said, your shoulder still hurts? He said, you've been complaining about that since surgery. So I went in for a couple of follow-ups after my knee surgery, and they said, oh, it's probably just the crutches. And I said, well, I don't think it is. And they said, I'm pretty sure it is. And I said, okay, because they're the doctors and they know the answer.
Right.
That was in December. Continued to get worse and complain about it, and finally I made a specific appointment because I felt like they were blowing it off because I was on my knee follow-ups, and I said, I can't put my hair in a ponytail. I live with my hair in a ponytail. My husband's been putting my hair in a ponytail. I can't do normal things. I can't tuck my shirt in. And they said, oh, well, you're 50 and you're female and you've got frozen shoulder. It happens all the time.
Wait a second, real quick, Becca. Real quick. The doctor said you're 50, you're female, and you have frozen shoulder?
Yes.
Wow.
And it happens all the time.
Wow. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue.
No. So absolutely. They said, well, it could be from crutches, it could be from gardening, and I've pretty much been laid up since last September. And I said, well, I haven't gardened. This started before I was on crutches. Are we sure that's what's going on? And they said yes. So we did some x-rays, and they said, yeah, there's nothing wrong with your shoulder. You've got frozen shoulder. So I started on traditional physical therapy. My shoulder continued to get worse. I was not having any improvement. I'm pretty tough as far as pain tolerance goes, and I've grown up as an athlete. I don't mind pushing myself through the pain to get through the recovery process, but this just wasn't normal. My massage therapist and I were talking, and she said, I have been documenting since December that this shoulder has been an issue on your sessions. She said, there is this man that I think you ought to see. Several of my CrossFit friends use him in Jacksonville. So got in the car following my follow-up appointment when they said, okay, well, we'll just take you back to surgery and snip the adhesions from the frozen shoulder.
Oh, my God.
I wasn't ready for a third surgery. I'm still not ready for a third surgery, and I knew there had to be another option. And so I ended up in the office, found out I was not delusional, that I am in the pain that I think that I'm in. I'm as limited as I am convinced that I'm limited with my motion in my everyday life. And the day following my first session, I was able to put my hair in a ponytail for the first time in almost 3 months.
So when you walked into Dr. Yass, what's the first thing he said, and what was the first, I guess, exercise or massage? What happened with that?
So I walked in, and I told him kind of the progression of what had been going on with my shoulder. I demonstrated what some of my limitations were. I explained to him some of the spasming and the pain that I was having. And we talked a lot, and then he went through a few exercises, checked my shoulder, and moved it around, and within probably 6 minutes was able to say, I think this is what you have going on because these are your symptoms. These are how the muscles are reacting to movement and not reacting to other movement. And you do not have a frozen shoulder, or these are muscle issues that we can approach and attack directly, and I can get you some relief. And
so, Becca,
since that,
I'm sorry, Becca.
go ahead.
Do you remember what happened? You raised your arm. You were sitting.
Oh,
you raised
yes.
your arm and you said, "Oh, I have a little pain here," and then you tried to raise it further, and you're like, "Now that's a lot of pain." And you began to drop your arm, and you went into spasm and kind of froze. You grabbed your arm with your other arm, and you started saying, "It feels like it's locked." And it was fairly traumatic, so I simply grabbed your arm, and I said, please, let's just try to lay you down. I'll support your arm. You can't be in that level of pain. And I helped you lower your arm. And because of my understanding of bone mechanics, I made sure that your elbow stayed higher than your shoulder, which kept the arm bone in the proper position, and we were able to get you to laying without any pain at that point, right?
Yes. Yeah, and I've not had a spasm coming down with my arm since then.
Right.
I'm still not 100%. I've had 3 visits, but I still have pain at some places, but I'm able to put my hair in a ponytail. I'm able to dress myself, which had gotten to be an issue. But I do not have the spasms, which were literally breathtaking, tears in my eyes, and was the number one thing that happened within 10 minutes of me being there, was we were able to resolve the spasms.
If you remember, what I talked to you about was, you mentioned that you were diagnosed with frozen shoulder, and I said to you, well, every diagnosis has specific symptoms, and those symptoms must match for that diagnosis to be accurate. And I told you that you raise your arm to a certain point, but if I could raise it further, then by definition, you can have a structural limitation, because if it's a labral tear or a frozen shoulder or arthritis, then the joint can only go so far, regardless of it's trying to move it. So when I did raise your arm, I brought it about 30, 40 degrees higher, and you were able to go through that distance, which told us that it was muscular. And what I was able to recognize, I tried to check your rotator cuff, and what I saw was that it was shortened more than most people I had ever treated, which told me that the spasming was in it trying to stabilize your shoulder as you lowered it. And that's what the problem was. So I immediately began a process of trying to massage the rotator cuff and lengthen it. And I think just after the treatment, I don't even know if we got to the exercise first, I said, raise your arm. You were able to go further. But most importantly, you were able to drop it without any spasm whatsoever. That was the sign
Exactly.
we truly had understood what was causing your symptom.
Right.
So,
yes, and the spasms, like I said, were completely debilitating in my everyday life. So for you to be able to analyze that and approach that and provide relief immediately at that moment changed not only my life, but my husband's life. I mean, it takes a significant amount of part out of his day to accommodate the things I need on my timeline and not just his.
So let's just go briefly, move step slightly forward. So we got you to that point. Then what did I do? How many exercises with you? 5, correct?
Yep, 5 exercises.
5 exercises.
3 sets.
3 sets of 10
minute
repetitions.
break in between.
Minute break. And you're trying to progress the resistance, which allows the individual muscles to gain strength to the point at which that could be brought back into function so that you could function without symptom. Correct?
Yes.
You're doing
correct.
it 3 times a week. You happen to be coming to my office one time and doing them at home by yourself with resistance bands, correct?
Correct.
And you have increased to the point you couldn't even think about putting your hand behind your back when we first started this. And now you could get it back, but there's still some pain. But now, finally, you can get your hand behind your back. And as you said, you can put your hair up in a ponytail.
Right.
Right? So this has all occurred. You've had 3 sessions, but the first one is day 1. So you've actually only been coming to me for 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Okay. I want to make everything clear. So with the right diagnosis and the right type of treatment, if in fact it's muscular, I want everyone to understand the Yass method has the ability to resolve pain and return function in weeks. We are not looking at months or years. That's the important thing to understand.
So, Beck, I want to circle back, if I may, about the surgery. You had 2 surgeries for your knee, correct?
One for my knee, and then one on the other leg for my foot, which is
foot, right.
apparently how I blew my ACL. So
Right.
2 surgeries within 6 months, yes.
Okay, so you clearly did not want a 3rd surgery. And did the doctor know you had 2 surgeries prior? And when he said you need surgery, what was your response to that to him?
Instant tears. And I said, do I have another option? And he said, you're not progressing, so no. And I said, I'm not ready.
So if I can ask you this, was this the same doctor who told you it was probably the crutches?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So let's underscore this real quick. No surgery, no pills, no needles with Dr. Yass, right?
No.
Okay.
None.
Okay. And just as I'm just gonna throw this out there, were you taking like Tylenol and ibuprofen to try and help your pain while you were dealing with that?
I had been early on. I'm kind of a no medication type of person.
Right.
So I do a lot of natural supplements, magnesium, bromelain, things that reduce, anti-inflammatory, but natural. I prefer to take the natural route.
Okay, awesome. Becca, we really appreciate you taking time on your Sunday morning to come and give us your testimony. I'm glad you're feeling well. and better. Hopefully
Yes.
you can convince some others out there that, yeah, this is the way to go. The method actually works, and there is no surgery, there are no needles, and there are no drugs.
No. I'm headed back to work for the first time since last August because now I can move my arm enough and tolerate enough to actually work. I haven't worked since this.
I just want to make a point real quick. Her husband showed up at the last appointment, and I got to say, he's a great guy, and you could see the compassion that they have for one another and how much it was hurting to see her in pain. And just to be able to give her life back as well as it affect her husband, it's very powerful. It really does mean a lot to me. So
awesome. Thank you, Becca. We really appreciate it. Have
Thanks,
a great
Becca.
Sunday.
Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.
All right, bye-bye.
sounds good.
See, and Mitchell, we got to go to break, but I just want to say that and people have to understand this. We tried to focus on this last week, and I wanted to do it this week with what I said to begin the show, and I hope I didn't embarrass you, but this is more than just see pain, fix pain.
Yeah.
Like, this is, like, important for not only the person in pain, it's important for their loved ones and their friends around them. It's important for you. Everybody's invested in this person that's in pain. And the idea that they can't do something, or that when she tried to lower her arm, the spasm was so bad she was crying.
Yeah.
And it affected you like that. You've seen so much in your 30-plus years, but that really affected you.
The idea is that I see pain differently in the sense that it is not the issue. It's what it does to the person that's the issue. How is their life affected? How is the ability to do what they do, or the people that they are involved with? How does it affect that? That's why I see the importance of what I do as more than just a practitioner doing a treatment. My job is to end that pain and return function. That's what this is all about. It's the end game that I'm interested in.
All right, if you want to get on the line and ask Dr. Yass a question about a specific pain, the number to call is 904-641-1010. 904-641-1010. When we come back, we'll delve deeper into the shoulder shockers. It's the Pain-Free Living Hour with Dr. Mitchell Yass on 1010XL.
This year in Duval, expectations are higher.
Judgment Day is coming.
We want to compete for the big prize.
That's what this family's all about.
And the off-season is where it starts. Follow the off-season on 1010XL. Driven by Tire Outlet.
Major League Baseball is always on at Perfect Rag Billiards in Murray Hill. Whether you're a Ray, Cub, or even Yankee, Perfect Rag Billiards always has all the games live. Tons of awesome beer and food specials for the weekend, from Fireball Fridays, Seltzer Saturdays, and brunch on Sundays. That, along with tons of pool tables, shuffleboards, darts, and more. Get on out of the house for the action and come to Perfect Rag Billiards in Murray Hill, where you can catch all the MLB action. Perfect Rag Billiards in Murray Hill, a great place to watch sports.
Frank Frangie here. Do you find yourself straining to catch every word, missing out on the sweet sounds of life? Then you need to go to see Jerry Howard at Ponte Vedra Hearing Associates. His team will assess your hearing needs with a free screening and recommend a personalized solution. Ponte Vedra Hearing Associates offers professional quality hearing health care with the most competitive pricing. Call 404-5108. That's 404-5108 or visit PonteVedraHearing.com today.
Hey guys, I'm Daniel Heilman from the brand new Fourscore Golf Tavern. We do elevated food, drinks, and golf simulator fun. If you're looking for a delicious meal or maybe a spot for a client, we have lunch specials every day. Need to entertain a few people from out of town? Easy. Just reserve one of our 4 simulator bays. Lunch service starts at 11 a.m. daily. Located in San Marcos Square, we'll see you at lunch at Fourscore Golf Tavern.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
It's the blog players put their pads on for.
So we want it, we got to bring it. My thoughts and observations on our home team. That's what I share with you every week on my blog.
Roland Reach Plumbing brings you Hayes Blog on 1010XL.com.
Keeping your body healthy and active leads to a more vibrant life.
A great place to do that is the First Coast YMCA. The Y is equipped with state-of-the-art cardio and strength equipment, plus group exercise studios where trainers host activities like yoga, Zumba, and cycling sessions. The full-court basketball gym and indoor 5-lane swimming pool are open year-round. The Kids Zone can keep an eye on your kids while you work on that dad bod. And it's all available with your family membership. Learn more at fcymca.org.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
I'm Dr. Mitchell Yass, the most unknown world-renowned expert on pain elimination. That's right, elimination. If you've tried medications, injections, physical therapy, chiropractic, even surgery, and still experience pain, then say yes to Yass. I have successfully used the Yass method for over 30 years to help thousands reclaim their lives. To learn more, call me at 904-906-YASS. Let's end your pain and say yes to Yass.
When you choose J-Dog Junk Removal, you're not just hiring a junk removal service. You're investing in a company that believes in making a lasting impact on the lives of our veterans and our community. J-Dog is dedicated to giving back to our local veteran organizations. They have donated over $50,000 in materials and services, ensuring that these valuable organizations have the resources they need to support our veterans. J-Dog Junk Removal, veteran-owned, veteran-operated, ensuring that these valuable organizations have the resources they
John,
need.
I can't even mow my side yard. It's so soggy. Man, my builder sucks.
Brent, calm down. This is a common problem in neighborhoods where houses are built too close together. You need gutters and a properly installed French drain that will soak up subsurface water. We can completely dry it up.
So I can take my builder off my speed dial now, huh?
Yeah, we got you, buddy. Let that builder bitterness go.
Clearwater irrigation and drainage too.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville.
Okay, we're back. It's Sunday morning. It's 10 o'clock hour, which of course means it's the pain-free living hour with Dr. Mitchell Yass. Get involved, 904-641-1010. 904-641-1010. Dr. Yass can answer your questions about your pains, or you can, of course, call Dr. Yass at his office, 904-906-YASS. All right, let's go to Charles real quick. Charles wants to talk to Dr. Yass.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Charles.
Hey, Dr. Yass, my question is just two things. You know, one, I'm getting treated at the VA for my lower back and my knees. Now, on the lower back, I've had some epidurals, and that only lasted shortly. And then I had a thing called an RFA, you know, the radio frequency ablation.
Yes.
For the back, and that seemed to last almost a month. But the arthritis in my left and right knees, the left is the worst. And last month, I had cortisone in both knees on the same day. And, you know, the orthopedist told me that it was moderate osteoarthritis in both knees. And he saw something in the left, the labrum might need some work. But the cortisone injection made me feel great for about 3 days, and then it wore off. But he said, I think it's 2 weeks I go in, and he said he's going to inject some sort of gel.
Hyaluronic acid.
Oh, that's coming next. Then is that going to release some sort of natural HA or something to help cushion it better?
So listen, everything you've just described to me, you just talked about cortisone shots, you talked about radio frequency ablation, you've talked about this other thing. Not one of them is addressing a tissue in distress. You're saying you have arthritis. If arthritis was the cause of your pain, the only way you're going to fix that is surgery, right? So getting these things and them diminishing your symptom is primarily because they're masking your brain's awareness of the symptom. They're not addressing the tissue in distress. Now, right. So in terms of the idea that arthritis is causing your knee pain, well, arthritis that they're referring to, it exists between the thigh bone and lower leg bone. So if your pain is not at the joint line, let's say it's around your kneecap, then the pain you're experiencing is not from the arthritis being identified. It simply can't be because the symptom doesn't represent that tissue in distress. So, so pain around the kneecap is typically controlled by the kneecap not tracking properly due to a muscular deficit of the muscles that attach.
Oh, the scaffolding and the bridge work so it needs to be strengthened?
Very possibly. And the final concept is that if you're telling me that the idea of your pain is increased with weight bearing and decreases when you rest, well, by definition, you've now completely indicated that it's a muscular cause and couldn't be structural, because the structure doesn't get better or increase or decrease through weight bearing. So those are the key indicators that tell me by symptom what your body's trying to tell me that the cause is muscular. And so I would suggest to you, if you're interested, is to try to get an evaluation, and I'd be happy to be able to interpret your symptoms and let you know if, in fact...
What side of town are you in, Dr. Yass?
So I'm 2 miles north of the Avenues Mall on Phillips Highway.
Or, Charles, you can do a Zoom session with Dr. Yass.
That's always
cool.
Yep.
And it's 906...
YASS.
YASS.
Right, 904-906 Yass.
Yeah, because I've been trying everything, Dr. Yass, and I tell you, the pain is so bad, even a 10-milligram Percocet doesn't mask it.
And and the general principle I'll always bring up is that if you're addressing your symptoms, which is what Percocet does, then how could you be possibly addressing the tissue in distress and resolving that distress through an intervention, which is what stops the tissue from eliciting the symptom? That's the premise. That's the Yass method concept. Address cause, resolve cause. That's what it's about.
Should I bring my x-rays of my knees with me when I come see you?
Well, the presentation of your symptoms will instantly be able to tell me if, in fact, there is some structural deficit. I'm going to simply check your range of motion, and that's going to tell me.
Oh, all right. So you're 2 miles north of the Avenues, huh?
Absolutely.
Cool. I'll look you up online, and I'll give you guys a call.
Great. I appreciate it, Charles.
I tried everything.
Hey, man, thanks for calling in and letting us talk about it, because that, to me, helps others who may be having the same type of symptoms. So thanks for calling in.
Well, you guys have a great weekend.
You too, Charles. Thank you so much.
And thanks for enlightening me.
Yeah. So that's kind of the key, too, Mitchell. Is, man, that just breaks my heart when I heard Charles say even a 10-milligram Percocet couldn't help. Well, I mean, it's just, again, this is just my opinion, but, man, and I've gone through this with my Achilles. Surgery, no pills, no needles. You go in, Dr. Yass sees what muscle deficit you have. You do exercises specific to those muscles, and you feel better. It's not that difficult.
So let's always talk about this idea. There is an existing language of how pain is talked to with people, which is diagnostic testing, structural variations identified, and treatment based on that. And then there's my method, a secondary pathway to looking at it, which is this language of interpreting symptoms. The presentation of the symptoms, which are coming from the tissue in distress, so interpreting the symptoms to know what tissue it is. In my case, I've established over 30 years, 98% of cases it's muscular. You do 3 to 4 exercises. Within weeks, you are pain-free and fully functional. So it's really just looking at pain from a different perspective. And that's the important thing to understand. Symptom presentation, and by the way, Hippocrates himself said it, that is the way you determine cause. So,
again, if you want to call Dr. Yass and set up an appointment, it's 904-906-YASS. You can go online to his website, Live Without Pains, plural, livewithoutpains.com. You can even Google Dr. Yass. He's going to be the first guy. You click on his page, you'll get to his Google business page. It'll tell you everything about him. It'll lead you to his website. You'll have reviews. They're phenomenal reviews. And you could do a little information on you. Do a little reconnaissance on Dr. Yass. And you'll see, all right, we might be able to fit in a call or two on the other side. Again, it's 904-641-1010 if you want to call and ask Dr. Yass about one of your pains or many of your pains. It's the Pain-Free Living Hour with Dr. Mitchell Yass on 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien here, still providing the best multimedia sports coverage in Northeast Florida on 1010XL radio, video, and social channels.
Catch Mia's quick hits on the video and social channels of 1010XL, driven by Arlington Toyota.
Frank here, and it's summertime, and longer days mean more time to spice up your morning. Looking for an unexpected breakfast experience? How about a Chick-fil-A spicy chicken biscuit? It's back on the menu for good. Seasoned with a spicy blend of peppers and freshly breaded chicken paired perfectly with a lightly buttered biscuit. The Chick-fil-A spicy chicken biscuit makes a bold start to your summer morning. Savor each delicious bite with Chick-fil-A spicy chicken biscuit today.
Hey, this is Jason with Bueller Air Conditioning. Why do we love to go to that awesome grocery store where shopping is a pleasure? Why do we choose that amazing chicken sandwich where the service is fast and friendly and it's always their pleasure? You see, those brands are a promise. Here at Bueller Air, our team is committed to serving the customer and delivering that same kind of brand promise. Our mission is to be the most trusted brand with friendly and professional service every single time. Give us a call today or visit BuellerAir.com.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and I said yes to Yass, Dr. Mitchell Yass, and the Yass method. Now I know you've probably tried medications, treatments, injections, even surgery. Maybe the reason you're still in pain is because they're treating the wrong thing and not addressing the root causes. Well, I know from personal experience, this does happen. But I found the best kept secret in pain elimination, Dr. Yass and the Yass method. Call him today, 904-906-YASS, and say yes to Yass.
Hey, Jags fans. Renewal by Andersen is a proud partner with your favorite team, and they bring that same commitment to excellence to your home's windows and doors. With their advanced Fibrex material and energy-efficient glass options, their windows and doors are the perfect choice for your next home improvement project. Let them help you bring more light and life into your home. Schedule a complimentary consultation today. Renewal by Andersen, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CGC 1527613.
Get your news and notes from the swamp.
Alligators ornery 'cause they got all them teeth.
I'm Taylor Dahl, and I'll bring you the Gator Report to keep you connected to Gainesville.
Wow! Brought to you by Darley's Plumbing, where quality counts on 1010XL.
Why can't I just speak to an actual human being? I need a new bank.
Well, actually, at One-to-One Financial, communication is not only number one, it's one-to-one. When you call, you get to talk to a real live Jacksonville human, fast and with someone who's truly concerned about your needs, your security, and finding solutions as a team.
Thank you.
Ready to break up with your bank? Find a real long-term banking relationship at One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Visit one-to-onefcu.org for more information on opening an account today.
Federally insured by NCUA.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. There's a reason Stanley Pools is a family tradition of fine swimming pools. It's locally owned and run by the Stanley family since 1988. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build and renovate our pool, and they do a fantastic job of maintaining it. I've recommended Stanley Pools for years for pool construction, repairs, maintenance, and renovation. Call Stanley Pools at 269-7277 today to transform your backyard. That's Stanley Pools, 269-7277.
Does your home or building need painting? For over 20 years, Performance Painting has had the privilege of preserving many of Jacksonville's most prominent buildings. That said, we feel like we're just getting started. I'm Jason Parker, and our team thrives on preparing, protecting, and preserving the homes, businesses, and public buildings that make up our local landscape. Contact us today to put our years of experience to work for you. Performance Painting, prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Hey, Hicken here. Look, you've been hearing me talk about Zero Res for a while now, but there's 3 things they tell you that I agree with about their company. Best process, best people, and have a promise to do the best cleaning possible every time. And they offer a great deal every month. Well, guess what? July is National Carpet Cleaning Month. For home carpet cleaning, they're offering $49 per room. And for businesses, 20% off in July. Zero Res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
When it comes to commercial fence services, Superior Fence and Rail has you covered. If your business needs automatic gates or security fence and railings, trust Superior with your next commercial project. Superior's team delivers great communication, high-quality products, and exceptional customer service. Just read any of their 2,300 plus reviews.
When you're on the fence about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
All right, we're back in the Pain-Free Living Hour with Dr. Mitchell Yass. One more segment to go. I just want to underscore something before we go further, Dr. Yass. Pain affects everyone. I don't care how old you are. And there could be a 20-year-old basketball player who's done everything he can for his knee and he just can't, it's just not working. And he's probably thinking, well, I've done something, I got to live with it. No, you don't. Or there could be a 70-year-old young lady of 70 who can't get out of her car because she's trying to go to the grocery store because her knee hurts or her hip hurts or her back hurts. And she thinks, well, just going to have to live with it. That's it. I'll probably get somebody else to go to the store for me. No, you don't. There are answers there for everyone.
And it just goes to this idea of the two different languages that are existing right now. This 40-year language of the diagnostic test and following treatments based on that versus the interpretation of symptoms. And as I found in more than 98% of cases, the cause of pain is muscular. The thing that you just want to understand very briefly about the MRI is that it's a snapshot in time. It's showing a picture, but that picture, even though taken today, may be showing something that has existed for a year or a decade. And so it might be present, but not the cause of your symptom. And the other point is that those muscular causes I talk about don't show up on diagnostic tests. So there may be something missing if you take that approach, whereas symptom presentation is exacting because it is coming from the tissue in distress. So.
Okay, you wanted to finish up your shoulder shockers.
Yes.
So let's finish up your shoulder shockers here in the last segment.
Try to say that 3 times fast. You like that?
Shoulder shockers. Yeah.
All right. So I just wanted to talk about, for most people at the shoulder, the pain is at the front of the shoulder. I wanted to try to point out that in many cases you may be told that it's arthritis or a labral tear, but just take a look at that picture real quick. And
okay, hang on. If you're looking on 1010XL live stream, you're going to watch Mitchell hold up a picture of a shoulder. He's explaining what's going on. If not, just listen. He'll try and explain.
And listen and just try to get a picture of this biceps tendon at the shoulder. You could see that biceps tendon is running right above the head of the arm bone and below the top of the shoulder joint. So what happens is, remember I talked about that head of that arm bone rising. If it rises, it's going to pinch off your bicep. So when people get pain at the front of the shoulder, in almost all cases, it is biceps tendinitis, not from the use of the bicep, but it being impinged in the shoulder joint. And confirmation of that is incredibly simple. I'm just going to press on your bicep tendon, and you're probably going to go through the roof, which reinforces that it is your bicep tendon.
So real quick, if you truly do have frozen shoulder, your range of motion, like it was with Becca, you could move her arm. You're not moving the arm if you truly do have, at some point it stops if you have frozen shoulder, right?
That is correct. So the limiting factor in frozen shoulder, a labral tear, bone-on-bone, or bursitis is that it's not the pain. It's that you literally feel an impedance. You can't move your arm any further, and to confirm it, somebody else has to try to move the arm, and it cannot be moved one iota more. That's how you prove that a structural impedance is the cause of the pain.
So it's not so much the pain level, it's the non-movement.
Correct.
Okay.
Range of motion is the factor you're looking for to confirm a structural abnormality is the cause of pain.
And if you have a brutal pain in your shoulder, more than likely it's going to be muscular related.
Well, especially if you associate it with function. That function makes it worse and resting makes it better. That right off the bat, it's impossible for it to be structural. Structural abnormalities can't change intensity because they're structural. They're stuck, right? Muscular causes get worse with activity and you get lesser with rest. Okay, now if we're talking about pain at the back or the kind of mid-back area, I wanted to kind of point this out. So a lot of times people have pain in this area, and they will get
it's down the spine, right?
Right, the thoracic region, the mid-back region, and they'll get a thoracic MRI. They might find a herniated disc, but look very carefully. Look at all the muscles that are attaching from the shoulder blade to the spine. So my suggestion would be that pain here is most likely associated with shoulder function. Again, an interpretation of your symptoms will help you determine whether that's the case. In terms of just to the neck, going back again, if we look at the neck region, this is the levator scapula, the most common muscle in the neck to be strained. That is a shoulder blade stabilizer. Again, even if you're having pain on one side of your neck, it's associated with shoulder dysfunction. If you really want to take this very carefully, you'll see that muscles from the top, the bottom of the skull, all the way to the bottom of the rib cage at the thoracic region are all muscles that associate with shoulder function.
Yeah, I'm laughing now if you're watching on Ustream. I'm laughing because I came to Mitch last week. I work out with Mitch 3 times a week, and I said, Mitch, my neck is killing me. I think I pulled something. He goes, no, you didn't. So we did that simple exercise of
lower
trap exercise. I'm holding a 5-pound dumbbell and lifting it up from 45 degrees to 90 to by my face 10 times, 3 sets. Guess what? No more neck pain.
Right. So one other one, if you have pain on both sides of your neck, this is where the typical concept of looking at the cervical spine is the cause. You have to understand, again, those levator scapulas are shoulder issues, and what's happened is you end up with forward shoulder posture. And what's happened is the muscles of the chest, bicep, and upper front delt are too strong in comparison to the mid-back, post-delts, and triceps, and so it's drawing your shoulders forward. That causes that levator scapula to become overstretched. I just want to show a before and after picture because this will shock people. What I am describing is presented here. That is what is known as forward shoulder and head posture. You can see the hunch in her back, in her neck here. You can see how rounded it is. With massaging of the muscles in the front and releasing other muscles and doing exercise, this was her.
It's unbelievable.
That was the picture I took after the first treatment, massage and strengthening. So neck muscles are associated. Neck pain is almost always associated with shoulder dysfunction.
And after how many? That was after one session?
That was one session.
Okay. Look, you listen to the show every week. We know you do. If you want to see those pictures and you're not watching on the YouTube live stream, go to the 1010XL YouTube page. You can see the replay of the YouTube. You can click on it near the end of the show. If you really want to see an actual visual idea of the method and its impact, it's impressive. All right, Mitchell, that hour just flew right by. But as we do every Sunday from 10 to 11 a.m., we will be here on 1010XL, the Pain-Free Living Hour with Dr. Mitchell Yass. Join us next week.
He was number 55, and he's still our middle linebacker.
You're going to lose.
Tom McManus.
It was like he didn't know what to do.
Friday from 10 to